This is the terrifying sound of 61,000 feet of British sovereign power. In 1952, the United Kingdom unleashed the Avro Vulcan, a strategic nuclear bomber engineered by capitalist heavyweights to penetrate deep inside Soviet airspace completely alone and completely defenseless against friendly fighter escorts. It was a flawless engineering masterpiece that could fly at Mach 0.96 and pull tactical barrel rolls like an agile dogfighter, but it hit a cold class system that exposed its own crew to absolute disaster. If a high-power emergency struck during low-level penetration, only the pilot and co-pilot possessed Martin Baker ejection seats, leaving the three rear crew members with a survival rate near 0% on paper. This multi-million-pound Titan was built to ensure the survival of an empire, yet it transformed its own operational cabin into a vulnerable steel coffin for the men inside. Leading global defense analysts argue that, in the shadow of modern geopolitical tension, the legacy of this machine still dictates Western aerospace philosophy. As late as June 2026, the historic Vulcan XH-558 at Doncaster Airport successfully reactivated its ground engine runs, allowing public crowds to witness the 90,000 pounds of thrust from its four Bristol Siddeley Olympus engines. But back in 1960, when a Soviet S-75 Dvina missile blew a high-altitude American U-2 spy plane completely out of the sky, the entire strategic foundation of this aircraft became utterly useless overnight. How did a capitalist monster designed for the heavens manage to survive three different tactical eras? By crawling right into the jaws of enemy radar. Before we go on, what do you think is the ultimate fate of this design? Subscribe now to uncover the dark files of military history and tell me where you are watching from. To fully grasp the tragedy of this capitalist design, we must step inside the segregated cabin of the Avro Vulcan. British engineers constructed a brilliant aerodynamic shape, but they enforced a ruthless class system between the men who flew it. While the pilot and co-pilot sat on advanced Martin Baker ejection seats, the three rear officers, the navigators and the air electronics officer, sat lower down, facing backward with no automated escape system whatsoever. On paper, if an emergency occurred below 1,000 feet, their tactical salvation was mathematically non-existent. This flaw manifested in absolute horror on September 20, 1956, when the Avro Vulcan XA-897 crashed while attempting to land at London Heathrow Airport. The two senior pilots successfully ejected into safety, but the three non-ejectable officers in the back remained trapped inside the crashing structure and were lost instantly. The British government had built a machine to safeguard Western democracy, yet it fundamentally abandoned its own tactical crew to a defenseless fate inside a multi-million-pound metal vault. The strategic arrogance of this machine extended deep into its economic footprint. The British corporate defense complex spent the modern equivalent of over £10 billion to push this aircraft to a maximum speed of Mach 0.96 and a staggering service ceiling of 61,000 feet. The entire concept rested on the belief that Soviet interceptors could never reach its altitude. However, on May 1, 1960, a Soviet S-75 Dvina surface-to-air missile intercepted a high-altitude American U-2 spy plane over Sverdlovsk at 70,000 feet. In a single afternoon, the entire operational environment of the Avro Vulcan collapsed. The strategic kingdom of high-altitude bombing became utterly useless. The British Crown was left holding a massively expensive asset that was now entirely exposed to the lethal missile defense networks of the Eastern Bloc. Facing immediate obsolescence, this capitalist monster initiated a radical tactical transformation to survive. On paper, their only tactical salvation was to descend from the edge of space and operate at ultra-low altitudes, crawling below enemy radar networks. To the amazement of military planners, the massive delta wing design of the Avro Vulcan, which was originally optimized for high-altitude flight, possessed an accidental structural benefit. The thick, continuous wing surface lacked a traditional tailplane, allowing it to withstand the punishing aerodynamic turbulence found below 500 feet. This unique shape also distributed intense atmospheric pressure evenly across the airframe, absorbing the extreme gravitational forces that would snap conventional swept-wing aircraft in half. Furthermore, the seamless integration of its engines deep inside the wing root gave the Avro Vulcan an accidental stealth characteristic, drastically shrinking its radar cross-section during multinational exercises and making it a ghost to early North American Aerospace Defense Command tracking radar. This desperate adaptation culminated in the legendary Black Buck operations during the 1982 Falklands War. To deliver a single tactical blow against the Port Stanley airfield, the Royal Air Force forced this aging Cold War titan to complete a staggering 12,600-kilometer round trip, lasting 16 hours. Lacking the extreme ferry range of the American B-52, the Avro Vulcan survived by acting as a parasite on a massive aerial refueling network, extracting fuel from 11 Handley Page Victor tanker aircraft in a complex mid-air sequence. The operation consumed over 100,000 gallons of aviation fuel just to allow one bomber to drop its payload, a brilliant display of capitalist logistical excess that successfully paralyzed enemy operations. Fast forward to June 2026. This engineering brilliance remains a focal point for defense analysts studying the structural resilience of modern stealth bombers, like the Northrop Grumman B-21 Raider. The recent reactivation of the public ground engine runs for the Avro Vulcan XH-558 at Doncaster Airport in 2026 serves as a living laboratory, proving that its foundational aerodynamic architecture could endure across 3 distinct tactical eras. The ultimate retirement of the Avro Vulcan leaves modern strategists with a profound ideological debate. This machine represents the pinnacle of the Western defense philosophy of luxury security, where massive capital investments from private aerospace consortiums were poured into a single, high-performance asset to achieve immediate tactical superiority. The British state chose to outspend its adversary, constructing an elite weapon that could bend physics to its will, even if it meant placing its operational crew in an unforgiving cabin configuration with incomplete escape systems. This stands in total contrast to the mass-production pragmatism of the Eastern Bloc, which favored cheaper, rugged platforms like the Tupolev Tu-95, built in massive quantities and upgraded incrementally across generations. The legacy of the Avro Vulcan proves that while massive financial expenditure can buy staggering engineering breakthroughs, it also forces a nation into a cycle of hyper-expensive maintenance and narrow operational flexibility. The historical timeline confirms that the financial strain of maintaining the Vbomber fleet hastened the shift towards submarine-launched ballistic missiles by 1969, effectively stripping the Royal Air Force of its independent nuclear supremacy. In June 2026, As global militaries rush to develop the next generation of stealth bombers and autonomous combat drones, the fundamental question of defense procurement remains entirely unchanged. Is it wiser for a nation to risk its budget on a few highly advanced, extraordinarily expensive masterpieces, or to secure its perimeter with a vast fleet of practical, mass-produced weapon systems? If you had to choose between the cutting-edge engineering of a capitalist titan or the sheer numbers of a rugged, mass-produced fleet, which strategic path would you take to guarantee national survival? Drop your analysis in the comments below, hit the like button, and subscribe to stay updated with our deep dive military files.